I want you to imagine a scenario. You hire an intern. And this isn't just any intern. This person has read the entire internet, every book, every Reddit thread, every scientific paper. They have this encyclopedic knowledge of everything from human history to 14th century French poetry. But here's the catch.
They know absolutely nothing about you.
Zero. They don't know your business. They don't know your tone of voice. They have no idea what good even looks like in your world.
Right. So you walk up to this, genius intern and you just say, write something about dogs. And because they're brilliant but totally directionless, they might give you a PhD-level thesis on the evolutionary divergence of the gray wolf, or a haiku about a poodle.
And you get frustrated. You look at this and think, this intern is useless. But the problem isn't the intelligence, it's the instruction.
And that's the whole conflict, isn't it? We blame the machine for being dull or random, when really we just haven't learned to speak its language.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. I'm your host.
And I'm your co-host.
Today we are doing something a little different. We are unpacking the complete Gemini Prompt Engineering Handbook. Now, usually when I hear prompt engineering, my eyes kind of glaze over. It sounds like coding, like syntax. But reading through this, it felt more like psychology. It's about bridging the gap between human intent, which is messy, and machine output.
Oh, this is the document I wish I had 6 months ago. Seriously, it's based on a system from Google for Gemini, but the principles here, they apply to everything. We're going to move past that hit or miss phase where you type a question and just, cross your finger.
The default mode, isn't it? We treat AI like a vending machine. You put a coin in your prompt and you expect a specific candy bar to fall out. But this handbook, it suggests it's not a vending machine at all. It's a collaboration, a conversation.
Exactly. We're going to break down the mental model of how these LLMs actually think, or maybe more accurately, predict. We'll look at a 5-step framework for building prompts that actually work, and this is the part I'm really excited for. We'll get into Meta-Prompting, which is basically a cheat code where the AI writes its own instructions.
But before we get to the cheat codes, we have to talk about that vulnerable moment. The source opens with the author admitting they typed these vague questions and just get generic trash back. And I think that resonates because where I've been there, you type, help me write a blog post, and it gives you something that sounds like a Wikipedia entry written by a robot.
Oh, completely. In today's fast-paced world.
Exactly that. And you think, okay, maybe the tech just isn't there yet.
But the reality, and the handbook explains this so well, is that we just fundamentally misunderstand what the AI is doing. We project human understanding onto it. We think it's answering us. It's not. It is predicting the next word.
Let's just pause on that. Predicting the next word. It sounds so simple, but the implications are huge.
It's a probability engine, a giant calculator for language. It's looking at the pattern you give it, your prompt, and just calculating the statistical likelihood of what comes next. So the handbook makes this crucial point. Your prompt sets the playing field. If you use casual, messy language, the AI looks at that pattern and says, okay, low effort input. The most probable response is also low effort and generic.
So it just mirrors you.
Perfectly. But if you provide a professional, structured, highly specific context, the probability shifts. It predicts the next word should also be professional and structured.
So if it's just probability, why does the specific wording matter so much?
Because words define the pattern. Vague input equals vague probability.
Okay, that makes sense. We're trying to narrow the playing field.
Exactly. Which brings us to the 5-step framework the handbook proposes. And the first one seems so obvious, but apparently we all mess it up. Step 1, the task.
Right, the task.
It sounds easy, but most people write prompts like, write a blog post about fitness.
Which is way too broad.
It's terrible. It's the definition of generic. The AI will just give you, eat your vegetables and exercise. So the handbook says you need to move from write a blog to something concrete, like their example. Create a 500-word blog post explaining how to start lifting weights for people over 50. Suddenly, the AI isn't guessing. It has a target.
Okay, so we have a target, but a target isn't a tone. This brings us to what they call the secret ingredients, persona and format. Now, I've seen the act as advice everywhere. Act as a marketing expert, act as a pirate. Does this actually change the information, or is it just window dressing?
The facts might be similar, yeah, but the nuance changes completely. And this goes right back to that probability cloud. If you say, act as a friendly high school coach, the AI accesses a specific cluster of its training data, motivational words, simple sentences that you got this, champ, energy. But if you say, act as a world-class nutritionist writing for a medical journal, the vocabulary totally shifts. It pulls from the technical cluster. It uses words like hypertrophy instead of getting big. You're manually telling the intern which shelf of the library to pull the books from.
That helps. It's not a costume. It's a filter for the database.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about context. The handbook calls this the key to better prompts.
Hmm.
This feels like the part we all skip because we're in a hurry.
It is exactly the part we skip. We just assume the AI knows what's in our head. The example they use is the Blue Sky project email. Imagine typing, write an email to my boss about the project. The AI has to hallucinate everything. It doesn't know if the project is good or bad or on fire.
So it just guesses.
It guesses, and it usually guesses wrong. It'll write, dear boss, the project is going great, but maybe the project's a disaster.
Yeah.
So the fix is granular context. I'm working on the Blue Sky project. My boss, Sarah, likes very short, bulleted emails. The project is 2 days late because our designer was sick. I need an extension until Friday. Now the AI isn't guessing, it's executing. The handbook has this golden rule. The more the AI knows, the less it has to guess.
It seems like we're trying to reduce the AI's creativity here, aren't we?
We're reducing randomness so the creativity is focused where we want it.
Fair point.
Oh.
Okay, what about when? You know what you want, but you just can't describe it. You want a certain vibe.
Yeah.
The handbook suggests using references.
This is the classic show don't tell principle. Trying to describe a writing style is a nightmare. Make it professional but fun but not too casual. It's just confusing.
It's contradictory.
Exactly. But if you copy and paste a previous newsletter you wrote that people loved and you say, use the writing style of the text below, the AI analyzes everything. Sentence length, vocabulary, rhythm. It just mimics the pattern.
Does this mean I can feed it my own emails and finally stop sounding like a robot?
That's exactly what it means. You can clone your own voice.
Okay, let's talk about when it goes wrong. Because it does. You put in the task, the persona, the context, and the output is still off. The handbook emphasizes the necessity of iteration. And I feel like a lot of people, myself included, hit a wall here. I try a prompt, the result is bad, I get annoyed, and I just close the tab.
That's the vending machine mindset again. You press the button, the Snickers didn't fall, so you walk away. The handbook says to treat it like a junior colleague. If a real intern brought you a draft that was too long, you wouldn't fire them. You'd say, hey, this is good, but cut the adjectives and make it bullet points. You have to steer to say, make it shorter, or that's too formal, or explain it like I'm 5.
Speaking of explain like I'm 5, let's touch on constraints. This is one of the advanced tactics, and it feels counterintuitive. How does limiting the AI make it smarter?
It's the best way to stop the fluff. If you tell the AI, explain artificial intelligence, it'll just ramble, 5 paragraphs of jargon. But if you add constraints, explain AI. You cannot use the words algorithm, data, or machine learning, and it must be under 80 words.
That sounds hard.
It's hard for a human, but for the AI, it forces a very specific creative path. It has to find the essence of the idea, usually with an analogy, like baking a cake. Constraints kill the generic filler because the AI literally doesn't have the word budget for it.
There's another tactic here that I found really fascinating, using analogies to break cliches. The example was writing an ad for headphones. Usually you ask for a headphone ad, and you get
What?
You get crystal clear sound, deep bass. Immerse yourself, just marketing fluff.
So how do you fix that with an analogy?
You ask for something completely different, a documentary script. You say, describe the moment the character puts on headphones as if they just stepped into a silent library in the middle of the ocean.
A silent library in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
That is visceral, isn't it? And suddenly the output changes. It talks about the pressure of the water, the sudden absence of noise, the salt on the air. It's sensory language, not sales language. You've tricked the probability engine into becoming a poet.
I want to shift gears to something that feels a bit more sci-fi. Multimodal input, the moment of wonder. This is where we stop typing and start showing things to the AI. The handbook talks about using images as prompts.
Yeah, Gemini isn't just text, it can see. The example they give is the messy pantry. You don't type a list of ingredients. You just snap a photo of your shelves, upload it, and say, look at this. Suggest 3 healthy recipes I can make with what you see.
I have to play devil's advocate here. Is that really faster? By the time I take the photo, upload it. Couldn't I just Google rice and beans recipe?
If you know you have rice and beans, sure. But what if you have a weird half jar of artichokes, some quinoa, and a lemon? The AI identifies ingredients you didn't even think to list. It sees the relationships. Or think about a designer. You could upload a screenshot of a website and ask, Analyze this layout. Why is the user flow effective? It's interpreting visual patterns and turning them into text logic.
So the AI isn't just reading words anymore.
Right, it's seeing data patterns and images to solve physical problems.
Okay, but let's talk about its brain, the logic capabilities. The handbook mentions chain of thought prompting. This is supposed to make the AI better at math and logic. But why? If it's just a probability engine, why does telling it to think step by step actually change the final answer?
This is one of the most fascinating mechanics. Okay, think of it like this. If I ask you to multiply 34 by 72 in your head right now.
I would probably guess.
Yeah.
Or panic a little.
Exactly. You'd estimate. The AI does the same thing. It tries to predict the final answer in one huge leap, and it often misses. But if I force you to write it down, 4 times 2 is 8, 70 times 30 is 2100, you reduce the cognitive load. You're solving one tiny piece at a time. When you tell the AI think step by step, you're forcing it to generate the words for the intermediate steps. First, I will calculate the square footage. Then I will calculate the paint needed. By generating those words, it's literally feeding itself the context it needs to get the next step right.
So it's creating its own breadcrumbs to follow.
Precisely. It catches its own logic errors before they even happen.
And that connects to the tree of thought idea they mentioned for brainstorming.
Yeah, that's just chain of thought on steroids. If you're starting a candle business, don't just ask for a strategy. Ask for 3 separate branches. Branch A, luxury high-end. Branch B, eco-friendly budget. Branch C, wacky novelty candles. Then ask it to list pros and cons for each of those branches. You get to see the whole multiverse of options before you commit to one.
It sounds like we were building synthetic colleagues.
Exactly. Custom experts you can keep in your pocket.
Okay, we've covered the framework, the constraints, the logic. But there's one technique in the handbook they call the cheat code, and that's meta-prompting.
This is pure inception.
It really is. It's the idea of asking the AI to write the prompt for you. There's something deeply ironic about this. We're sitting here learning how to talk to the machine, and the ultimate hack is just asking the machine to do it.
It's recursive, but it makes sense. Who knows the internal brain structure of the model better than the model itself? So you say, I want to learn Spanish. Help me write a high-quality prompt that includes a persona, a lesson plan, and a specific tone. And Gemini will write this complex, perfectly structured paragraph that it knows will trigger the best possible response. Then you just copy it and paste it back in.
So the AI actually teaches us how to use it better.
Yes, it designs the framework so we don't have to guess.
And once you have these perfect prompts,
Yeah.
you don't lose them. The handbook mentions the universal secretary.
This is just a great workflow tip. Save your best prompts. The author has the specific one where they paste in their messy, chaotic meeting notes. Then they paste their saved prompt, summarize into key decisions, action items, and deadlines. One click, a perfect professional summary. If you have to type that out every time, you won't do it. But if it's a copy-paste spell you can cast, it changes your whole day.
It becomes a self-reinforcing loop then.
Exactly. You get better at using it, so it gives you better results, and so you trust it more for more complex tasks.
Let's zoom out a bit. We've covered a lot of ground today. We moved from that intern who knows everything but understands nothing to this whole journey of task, context, and persona.
And, learning how to poke at that probability cloud.
Right. What's the big idea here for you, the main takeaway? Because for me, it's that we need to stop being such passive users.
That's it. You don't need to be a coder. You don't need to know Python. You just need clarity and the confidence to look at the result, say not good enough, and talk back. The magic isn't in the first prompt. It's in the conversation that follows.
I want to leave our listeners with a thought from the source material. It suggests that AI is a partner just waiting for great ideas. And if the AI is the engine, your clarity is the fuel. We often complain about the engine sputtering, but we rarely check if we're putting in good fuel. I wonder, how much clearer could your own thinking become if you practiced explaining it to an alien intelligence every single day?
That's a powerful thought. It forces you to understand your own request before you even make it.
I'd encourage you to try one thing tonight. Try the pantry cast with a photo, or, if you're feeling brave, try the brutal editor on your next email.
Just maybe have a glass of wine ready for the brutal editor. It really doesn't hold back.
Good advice. Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you on the next one.
See